Good morning. Are we live? Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. Thank you. Solid Waste Authority Board Meeting is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Mayor Woodward.
Here.
Commissioner Flores.
Here.
Commissioner Powell.
Here.
Mayor Baxter.
Here.
Commissioner Marino.
Here.
Commissioner Sack. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Curry, will you please provide the invocation and lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. Dear God, we thank you for your many blessings. Help us serve our community and our customers with integrity, ingenuity, and responsibility. We ask that our work help others to realize better health and greater happiness. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, Madam Chair, there are no additions or deletions, but I would like to reorder the agenda to discuss item 9G1 immediately after 6.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Flores made the motion. Mayor Baxter the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? See that that passes unanimously. Is there a motion to adopt the board minutes from April 8th, 2026?
So moved.
Okay. Mayor Baxter was the first. Commissioner Marino was the second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? See that passes unanimously. We also need a motion to receive and file the Citizen Advisory Committee minutes from June 3rd, 2026.
So moved.
Mayor Baxter has moved it. Second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? See that that passes unanimously. Is there a motion to receive and file the Small Business Advisory Committee minutes from April 7, 2026? Commissioner Weiss moved it. Commissioner Flores second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? See that that passes unanimously. Would anyone like to pull anything from the consent agenda? No one? Could I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented? I missed. Okay, sorry. So the two Marias, first and second. Thank you very much. Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? See that that passes unanimously as well. Do we have any cards for matters by the public? The clerk, please call them. Or who has them? Sorry, Commissioner Flores. We have 3 cards.
All right. We got Linda Smith, Drew Martin, and Gail Ladd.
Good morning. Linda Smith, Jupiter, Sierra Club, Loxahatchee Group. I continue to ask you to direct staff to solicit for RFPs nationally to organizations that can adopt zero waste strategy or near zero waste strategies to reduce our waste by half in less than 9 years and for less than the $1.5 billion incinerator. The Solid Waste Authority has a lofty goal of zero landfill. I support that. I do not understand why my lofty goal of zero waste is any loftier. As long as you incinerate, you will create concentrated toxic ash, about 15%. Using this toxic material as a roadbed reminds me of the Mosaic project using photogypsum containing radioactive materials. The EPA has historically considered this to be too dangerous to public health, especially in Florida on a limestone pervious soil. This causes fatal cancers, and other suggestions are using microplastics in road beds. We all know how devastating microplastics are in our environment and to our health. You know, like, thank you, I'll have my week's microchip digested, served with a glass of toxic ash drinking water. I don't know where this is going. Zero waste strategies are actually more effective to get to zero landfill because the reduction in the toxic ash, even zero waste, has a little apex on the triangle that is incinerated, so it will create a little toxic ash. Facing Florida real estate tax reduction, we should be looking for cost and environmentally effective ways to reduce our waste. SWA is lucky they aren't facing tax cuts because they are ad valorem by the residents, but the residents still have to pay for it. I want to thank you for your work on equine waste and vegetative waste composting. Really, I do. I want to thank you for that. But how much of a stretch would add catering, restaurants, and the convention center food waste to the vegetative waste? I want to thank you for your successful residential recycling efforts, but how much of a stretch would it be to increase that to commercial and multifamily recycling? You can be more financially and environmentally responsible with our $1.5 million than a shiny new incinerator. Thank you. Oh, billion, sorry.
I'm going to let Gail go before me, and then I'll go last. Go ahead, Gail.
Oh, okay. Thank you. My name is Gail Ladd from Jupiter, a member of the Sierra Club Loxahatchee Group. First, I want to thank you, Director Kari, and staff of the Solid Waste Authority. You are all doing a great job of handling and disposing of our waste and recycling with information and technology available now. I am a single person and someone who is purposely trying to reduce my waste through a few choices. Trying to buy food that I will eat with less throwing away because it has gone bad. Not buying produce that comes in plastic containers like those little tiny tomatoes. Recycling cardboard, plastic, and paper. Donating no longer used clothing or still usable items such as glassware or lawn chairs. Yes, I have seen them put out for trash. And composting vegetative waste. I remember, and I'm sure you do too, when we began the recycling projects. Reduce, reuse, recycle was the mantra I taught my fourth graders. Now we add another R, refuse, especially plastic water bottles and straws. Yes, it takes education. And yes, there are some people who are lazy and can't be bothered, like those who throw away plastic bottles right outside the Palm Beach County Commission chambers. Maybe they are unable, physically or mentally, to comply with these efforts, but we have to start somewhere. Sierra Club and others, such as our local Beyond Burning group of Palm Beach County, believe that if we can reduce our waste by half, we would not need to build a second incinerator. Other communities, cities, and countries have initiatives that reduce waste. It only takes the will and the effort to make it a priority. Encouraging our citizens to think purposefully, give incentives to condos that do not recycle, reinitiate a county-wide composting facility, especially for restaurant food waste and yard waste instead of burning. When I began composting, I reduced my own waste and ended up with excellent mulch for my beautiful butterfly garden. It can be done. I encourage you to think outside the box, so to speak, or shall I say, outside another incinerator. It just takes initiative and the will to be leaders in reducing ash and possible toxins into our air. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you so much for providing us the opportunity to comment today. I was at a meeting at a business building, and they were handing out plastic, and I said, well, are you going to recycle that? And they said, oh, no, we don't recycle, and we're not required to. And I really think that that's unfortunate. I think that you should pass an ordinance that all buildings have to have available recycling. And I think that would be a benefit both to the buildings and the people who work there. particularly worried about cardboard, which is very viable, not being recycled. I am disappointed that the aluminum, which used to be extracted from the waste, is now burned, even though they do go through and try to extract the metals. I would think that it would be more successful if they didn't do that, but I am not an expert on recycling. I just read a book called Plastics, Inc. by a lady named, I think her last name is Gardner. It was just published. And they talked about the huge pollution from nurdles. Nurdles are the building blocks of plastic goods. And they said that up to 1 trillion of those are manufactured each year, and thousands of them escape the manufacturing process. In fact, in Houston, a lady sued, and she won a judgment for $30 million against Formosa Plastics because they were doing such a poor job of capturing the nurdles. Further, manufacturing of plastics is causing a great deal of cancer near the manufacturing sites, which are often people of different ethnicities. So if we reduce our plastic use, I would like you to do something with the airport. It was my impression that they are not recycling at the airport, that they're throwing away the waste. I hope you will have a hearing on that and investigate that. Thank you for your time.
That's the last one. Okay. That will close matters by the public. And now we will move on to 9G1, the transfer of funds. Mr. Curry?
Yes, our CFO is going to present that item.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the benefit and security of our bondholders, where the indenture of trust for our bonds require that we maintain a debt service reserve account with an independent trustee, that the balance of which should be equal to the average annual debt service expenditures, which at this time is approximately $71.6 million. We currently have $70.2 million in the debt service reserve account, and so we have until October 1st to get to the 71.6. So therefore, staff is asking your authorization to transfer $1,411,511 from unrestricted general reserve to the restricted debt service reserve account. And we're available for any questions that you might have regarding this.
We have any questions from the board? All right, we do have one card.
Linda Smith.
I'll be real brief because that was a pretty brief presentation. Linda Smith, Jupiter, Florida. Could any of this money be earmarked or a portion of it be used to rethink, reuse, refuse, and recycle? I understand you have an obligation for debt service. Thank you.
No, the short answer is no, because this is debt service. We need to have the minimum coverage there, and we budget exactly to the dollar that we need. So, because we have other better investment options.
Okay. Second. All right. Commissioner Marino made the motion, and Commissioner Flores the second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? See that passes unanimously. Now we will move on to the public hearing with our proposed budget for fiscal year 2027.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me introduce this item here, and then our CFO is going to do a detailed presentation. So as you know, our budget has two components to it. It's the disposal enterprise fund and the collection fund. So the collection budget is pretty much set, and the reason is the board approved hauling contracts back in February and then in April. So the budget for the collection side of things is pretty much set. So what we're going to talk about today in detail is the disposal assessment. And so it's got like a couple of different components to it. And due to inflation factors and with Ref 1R in mind, we need to hit a target of $267 for the assessment by year 2032. So in order to build a reserve that takes us there and on a gradual increase year over year, about $10 and change. So we're proposing this budget keeping long-term perspective and also the inflation issues that we're facing today. And as of this morning, I ran a report. My staff, our budget manager, Christina Richards, prepared this report here that shows the COLA as of this morning from the BLS. It's 3.23%. So our COLA includes a 3% increase, and that's the short term. And we're also factored in the increase in fuel costs, and also capital programs that need to be implemented over the next year or so. So with that, I'll turn it over to our CFO.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kari. Madam Chair, we just going to give a brief overview in terms of our budget. Before I jump into the fiscal 27 budget, just wanted to kind of go back a bit and do a brief recap of what the fiscal 2026 budget essentially entailed. So we had a single-family rate of $205, multifamily of $114, mobile home of $195. The scheduled debt service ratio was projected to be at 1.7 or 170%. And essentially what that is that our indenture of trust, as well as the credit rating agencies, like us to maintain a debt service coverage ratio of 110%. We have typically exceeded that amount, and intentionally, so as to keep our bond rating at an exceedingly high rate. The fiscal 26 capital budget was at a $42.7 million, and as Mr. Kari indicated, the mandatory collection assessment rates were updated per their approved contract. Looking at fiscal 27, we plan an average increase for the single-family residential rate of 5.9%. That translates to a single-family residential of $217 per year. That's an increase of $12 per year. Multifamily will be $122 per year. Mobile homes will be $207 a year. In terms of the commercial rates, disposal assessment rates, those are up on average 9.1%. That is 0.7 cents per square foot for commercial low, of 2.4 cents per square foot for commercial medium, and 13.3 cents per square foot for commercial high. The bulk of the total commercial square feet for approximately 274 million square feet. The bulk of that is concentrated in commercial medium, which comprises most of our commercial space. For the proposed mandatory collection, those contracts were approved by the board in a previous meeting. And also what was approved was that we reduced the number of service areas from 6 to 5 beginning October 1st, 2026. Those were 7-year contracts, and another important feature of that was that service area 3 will be allotted 12 cubic yards for vegetation, whereas the other service areas will receive 6 cubic yards per week for veggie. On the revenue side of things, rather other revenues, we're looking at the total this budget revenues of $23 million, 20.8 of which is going to be increases attributed to the disposal budget, which is the bulk of the overall budget. The tipping fee changes, we'll see if some changes in the tipping fees there, primarily building debris and some of the other fees. We do propose some adjustments there. In terms of the expense side of the ledger, the overall disposal budget will increase by $7.3 million. The main cost drivers of that was plant operations of $3 million.
1 moment. Commissioner Flores had a question.
Yes, definitely.
Sorry to interrupt you. So I see that the single-family homes, multifamily is going up $8, and mobile homes are going up $12. You're saying also that revenues are going up. So my biggest question is, and you're addressing it here, but why is the operating expenses going up? Because you have here the plant operations are going up $3 million, disposal operating expenses are going up 3.1%. What's the driver behind these? I mean, that accounts right there for $10 million.
Yes. So the driver is, if we isolate the disposal budget, that's going to increase by 7.3 million. The main driver of that was the Ref 1 operations. It will be increased by 2.2 million. We have contractual services, scrubber reagent fees of that's increase here for approximately 637,000. We have contractors operators fee, which makes up a significant portion of that, is another 818,000. Then we have insurance premiums increasing as well. Coupled together, those contribute to just the Ref 1 plant increase in expenditures of $2.2 million. The contractors operators fee for the biosolids plant will decrease slightly based on 63,400 base tons of usage. Rather, for the biosolid, the recycling plant, that will decrease of 427,000. The biosolids, however, will increase by 441,000. Ref 2 will increase by 900,000. And the components to that is we have engineering services and other contractual services will increase by about 400,000. The contractors operators fee will increase by another 100. And we have the scrubber reagent fees will increase by another 200,000.
So I hear you telling me all the increases. Mm-hmm. But is there a driver? Is there something that is happening out in the marketplace that is driving our cost up?
Tied to contractual obligations. However, in terms of fuel, insurance costs,
okay,
there are certain costs that are primarily dictated by the market, and so those will increase as well. The insurance premiums will have a significant.
And are we forecasting that this is going to increase every single year at this clip? I mean,
it depends, Commissioner. It depends. So let me go over the big ticket items. The increases here on the operating expenses is 4.3 million. Ref 1 fees, it's going to be up by 2.1 million. That's contractual. And the Ref 2 fees is going to be up by $1 million. Again, that's contractual.
Right.
It's based on indices in the contract. And as you know, the collection contract expenses, they're going to go up by $5.5 million. That's already been approved by the board. And another big one is the debt service expense. That's going up by 5.7 million. That's already in there. And the other big ticket item is renewal and replacement. It's $8 million increase. That's like retrofits to facilities and upgrades and things like that. So overall, like Mr. Dunkley said, it's $27 million increase, and these are the big ticket items, that add to that. And most of that is contractual or like, the reagents and stuff, it's the market, so the chemical prices have gone up. So we're factoring in fuel cost increases, additional costs for chemicals because it costs more now to buy those chemicals,
right,
such as lime. And so we're factoring in all that.
So, this board, we've talked about lowering taxes and things like that, but as I'm looking at this and I look at your next slide that we're going to go into, between 22 to 27, it's going to be almost an over $50 increase in about 5 years. That's about $10 a year, roughly. So in another 5 years, we're going to be over 300. So how do we stabilize our cost? I understand where we're at today. I understand that there are things that are at play right now. But as we look to the future, how are we looking to either reduce or keep our costs flat? I know it's hard, but are we looking at these strategies to see how we can decrease some of these items?
We're gonna optimize everything that we can, but some of the, like I said, the big ticket items, when you look at it on the expense side, I'm on page 8 of 20 here on the expenses. As you can see, PBREF1 fees, that's 58.5 million. That's contractual. So everything, that's in the index, so we take the base fees that was in the base year 2009, and then that's escalated, that's in the contract. And PBREF2, the same thing, it's 41.6 million. So everything that we can optimize, these budget line items are fixed. So, and then on top of that, the chemicals are additional. It's a pass-through. So depending on market conditions, most of the time, it's, you can project based on some indices, but some unforeseen events like, inflation now and fuel costs, and year over year, those things fluctuate.
Right.
Some years it's down, some years it's more. Like in this year, obviously the fuel costs are higher and reagent costs are higher, such as lime, so we're almost going to pay double for next year. Okay. And fortunately for us, natural gas is down this year, but a couple of years ago, it was high.
Right.
So we budget for that, within some, upside and downside band. And so most of the time, we can bring in the budget within these parameters.
Okay. The last thing I'm going to say is, we asked our haulers to sharpen their pencils. I would want us to start doing that, taking that approach moving forward. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could, just to add on a little bit to what he was asking, can you, of the increase we're having this year's, the 27 million, how much of that was like expected? Stuff that we voted on, we knew that was going to be the case versus others that are a little more fluid because of the market.
I can go over.
Just roughly.
I would say, more than 80% is expected.
Is expected.
Yes.
Okay. So
because it's contractual, so the operating contracts, when you look at it, we're at about 115, 120 million roughly.
So that still leaves us with about 20%
that's market based.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Please continue.
So basically, the drivers, as we had discussed, those were the main drivers of the expenses. The blighted grant program we will maintain for this year. As I indicated earlier, the debt service reserve is budgeted to be at 1.76 million, and the debt service cost itself, as Mr. Carey indicated, will increase by $5.7 million. The capital budget will increase by roughly 8.4 million, and mandatory collection expenses, we have kind of touched upon that. Those are fixed by contract, and we're not proposing currently to use any of our general reserves to balance the upcoming year's budget. So going back to the rates, as we had discussed, what we're doing here is we have kind of taken a look back to see if we had applied the CPI index to the assessments that we have levied in the past, where we would have been. So the top orange-ish trend line is what the CPI is. The green line is what our rates would have been had we applied the CPI index rate increase, and then the bottom line is effectively what we are proposing to charge the residents, which is $217 for the upcoming fiscal year.
Okay.
As you could
One
see,
Commissioner Powell has a question on this one.
Thank you. Mr. Dunkley, looking at that, when you showed the CPI index and where we are, the question I had was, if we were following the CPI index, we would be at, for the year 2027, 250?
precisely.
But why is it showing the CPI index at 312? What does that mean?
Okay, that's coming from, if we take the trend from 2013, the 312 is simply just calculating. If you take 312 divided by 306, you'll get the general price level increase that we're applying to the 246 to get to the 250. So essentially, the top line is just giving us a basis to calculate the price level increase from year to year. The bottom two graphs are the ones that we're looking at what actually occurred. 217 is what we're proposing. 250 is what it would have been.
Let me add to it. You know, the orange line that you see is the number from the. It's not a dollar. It's the data from the BLS. So for year 2013, that index was at 221, and so 2027 it's going to be at 312. So it's not a dollar amount. It's just the number
Price
from
level
that index
increase,
for the CPI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you say it from the Bureau of Labor Statistics,
right?
And it's just a number, but what kind of number?
So
If it's not a dollar amount, it's above a dollar amount. What
The
is
way how you derive it is you take the 312 and divide it by the 306. That will give you a ratio, which you use to apply to the 246 to get to the 250.
Okay.
Yeah, that's precisely how we've determined the second chart primarily. So the 306 and the 312 to get the price level increase, it's a ratio of 312 divided by 306.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So in a nutshell, the fiscal 27 proposed budget we have here before you, the proposed rates for the commercial, residential, as well as the governmental assessments. As we indicated earlier, we're proposing that the residential rate be set at $217 per single-family residential unit. The red over to the right, we've kind of highlighted those rates that we are proposing or requesting your authorization to adjust upwards. In terms of going back a bit to the mandatory collection, what we have done here is we have depicted the new service areas, the counterpart old service areas, and what the new rates will be for the upcoming year. We have also prefaced the fact that due to the geographical changes in the boundaries, we are somewhat kind of just laying the new rates. We're refraining somewhat from comparing, putting the old rates up there because we didn't want to skew your analysis. But essentially, before you is the rates for the upcoming year. And so what we're seeking today is three primary things. We're requesting your approval of the fiscal 2027 proposed budget. We're also requesting board approval of the proposed 2027 proposed assessment and tip fee rates. And we're asking also if you would allow us to continue the public hearing until August 19th. And pretty much is our presentation for the day. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Weiss?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dunkley. Question. I was looking at your revenues from your interest income, and curious as to what rate of return are you using?
The current rate of return is about 3.8%, and that is a short-term government rate that we're primarily, but that's the rate of return is 3.83%.
I think it might be helpful at some point in the future to get a presentation on the investment and the investment strategy, just to ensure that, first off, we understand what's going on, and secondly, maybe there's some opportunities. I mean, 3.8 is not terrible, but maybe there's some, especially with the funds being reserved for REF 2, or replacement of REF 1. Sorry. I mean, that's not going to be needed for a few years, and maybe some longer term type investments might.
Precisely, that's a good point. Considering the interest rates are environment is in an upward trajectory. So we'll definitely take that under advisement.
Good.
Thanks.
I mean, overall, and obviously, CPI is important to our ratepayers, but CPI is not a straightforward application to running an operation like this, as we know in terms of the work that we do over as a Board of County Commissioners. I mean, a lot of this has to do with operations of a very specific type that people don't do at home. And additionally, your dependence on things that can get incredibly expensive, as we've seen with your materials that you use for processing. And of course, fuel is very volatile. Especially this year, it's gotten much more volatile. So you have us on, which I believe is the right thing to do, is on a smooth trajectory to the future, rather than trying to artificially, or I shouldn't say artificially, but to hold rates down, because taking some of that money, reserving it, buying down, if you will, the cost, as opposed to having to borrow it, and getting the public to the right levels, makes sense, and I think much easier for people to plan without having to see big, now they know, hopefully if they're watching this, they know the trajectory we're on and can plan accordingly, and it's a little bit each year, and we get there. I had concerns in the past about buying down rates. It's a nice thing to be able to do, especially when the economy's bad. You can take those reserves and do that. But when we're on a large capital expenditure future, I think this is a much more prudent course, and so better planning for everybody. So with that, I'm very supportive, and I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the three requests.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Weiss, a second by Mayor Baxter, and Commissioner Sachs. You have your light on?
Yes. I have a question. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The following from Commissioner Weiss's question about our investment processes, does the Solid Waste Authority, and this is probably for you, Mr. Kari, Solid Waste Authority have an agency that works with us, works with the Solid Waste Authority to make sure that our investments are yielding the highest returns? And if not, then what can we do?
Yeah, we do have our financial advisor, so Mr. Dunkley has all that information, so please go ahead.
Yeah, so we don't have a third-party money manager. We work with PFM on the debt side. In terms of the investments, our investment policy allows us to invest in a broad range of categories. However, what we do, we compare ourselves to some of the major indices, such as the Bank of America, short-term Treasury Index. We look at the 30. We look at the what we're earning. We look at the pool, the Florida prime rate, participant rates of return. And so we have some benchmark indices that we compare from time to time. But to directly answer your question, we don't have a third-party investment advisor. It's a mixed bag. Some entities do, some don't. That's something we could look at your pleasure.
I think it would be a wise idea. 3.6 is good, but can be better.
3.83.
Oh, 3.8. I just got it higher. Longer I talk.
Yeah, it's 3.83%. That's typically.
So why don't we do this? If I could suggest, and I don't know if we need to vote on it or not, but I would suggest that maybe your office could connect with a third party for investments, because I think that with the money that we have to invest, that the return would be possibly higher than what we're doing, and maybe a little less work for you because it's such a volatile market. I know that many large organizations do that, and it just makes it easier and more profitable for them as well. So, Mr. Kari, do you think his office could look into that and maybe report back to us?
Definitely, we'll look into that, and also obviously there'll be fees associated with whoever we're hiring. So
It's always like that.
have
I mean,
to
but
see
you
what
know,
the net is going to be, and we'll definitely bring something back to you.
we're a big organization, and this is taxpayers' money, and I think that whatever fees investment company charges, they're going to make sure that we make more than their fees, and I think it would be a very smart and safe thing for us to do as well. So if that's okay with you, Mr. Kari, I wonder if you could report back to us your findings. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Is
Commissioner
that okay?
Marino?
I didn't get an answer. Is that
Yes.
okay? Thank you, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Marino.
Following up on what the other Maria said, maybe contact our clerk's office because they've been doing such a good job with returns. That might be a first step for you also.
Absolutely, we'll do.
Thank you.
Commissioner Flores.
I was just going to piggyback on what was just said. I don't know if we need to hire an investment consultant, but definitely, look and compare what other municipalities are doing. I know our clerk's office does pretty good, but we have a lot of resources that are around you that might assist with that. So I'm not 100% sold on the going out to an investment, but I think we could maybe do a better job internally.
No, we'll definitely explore that and report back to the board.
Okay, we have a few. Oh, sorry, Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also suggest that we may do a cost-benefit analysis to see what it would cost to, if you're thinking about, switching and investing elsewhere, what that would cost us, even analyzing, the time lost and money. But what is, Commissioner Flores talked about other municipalities, balancing our returns versus those of similar agencies, and I would say similarly situated to the Solid Waste Authority, but if it's comparable to municipalities as well, and if you know off the top of your head, I heard the 3.8% return, what are other similar size organizations returning, Mr. Dunkley, if you know off the top of your head?
I would say that ours is probably within the range. I've worked with a number of other agencies, and some have investment consultants and what have you. But what they typically use is the Bank of America ICE 1 to 2 year. It's short-term, Treasury index as a benchmark. And so we are slightly hovering around that. I must kind of put this out there that with a lot of the governments, our horizon is in a sense, we have some, like Commissioner Weiss indicated, we have a little bit of a longer time frame there within which to play because we're looking towards REF 1R. However, overall, most governments, they have to have a judicious balance between safety, liquidity, and yield. And so I know you've discussed the third prong, the yield, but we have to kind of make sure that we're ensuring the safety as well as the liquidity of the funds. And those are the three things that we take into consideration. But to specifically answer your question, 3.83% is not shabby. Most of the state participants have their funds lodged with the Florida Prime, which is the SBA, and that is effectively the rate of return for the Florida Prime, and they have, I think, it's a significant portion. There are other intergovernmental pools such as the that offers more security. However, the rates of return are significantly less. The Florida Safe, and so forth. Those are invested primarily in treasuries and what have you. Florida Prime tend to be more concentrated in commercial paper and so forth, which they do stress test every so often. But what we'll do is what Commissioner Sachs and Commissioner Weiss indicated. We'll kind of look around and see if we could bring back something to you regarding what our alternatives are, and to kind of maximize the return with the notion, with the proviso that we also have to look at safety and liquidity as well. And those are pretty much would be our approach to this overall. No, it's a long-winded response, but that's what we would typically be focusing on to balance those three objectives.
Thank you for that. CFO Dunkley. So it was a long-winded response. So just to encapsulate that, I think what you're saying is you'll look at it, review it, but with a higher yield comes more risky investments.
Always.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Weiss?
Yeah, and forgive me because I really wanted to just not first off get the answer, which was the 3.8, which is quite sufficient, based on the needs that you have. Because yesterday, as we were doing our budget, from the clerk's office, wanted to know what they were using as well in their projections for us, which was 3.75. So, I mean, you're definitely right in there. But as I was thinking about it, and that's really what I got to start thinking about the reserving that we're going to be doing for the next few years, so that because I know a lot of because you have to be prepared for storms and things like that you need a lot of liquidity. But there is an opportunity for the portion of these funds to look out, a couple more years potentially, and maybe there's some opportunities to do some things. And that's all the point I was getting at. And to the board, I just want to say, the 3.8 was certainly not shabby. Using CFO Dunkley's words, it is not shabby at all for the type of investments that they're making. But I thought there were some additional opportunities. So I hope I didn't mislead people thinking I didn't appreciate the good work you all are doing.
And we'll bring this thing back to the board. We'll put something together. We'll explore options that are available, so at least the board knows, what options are available. And like Mr. Dunkley said, we'll definitely look at the liquidity aspects of it and also the risk profile, and see, what's the right balance between the three, the yield and all that.
Okay, thank you. We do have some comment cards.
Linda Smith and Drew Martin.
I'm still Linda Smith, and I had the benefit of attending last week's Citizens Advisory Committee, so I had a preview of this presentation. Unfortunately, I could not write fast enough to record all the key points. If I really liked working with numbers, I would have become an engineer instead of an architect, so I apologize if I'm not following all these numbers you guys are throwing around. My question in regards to actually this presentation and the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting, those are not, they're videoed, I believe, but they're not put up on the website. They're not available to the public at all, but particularly not before this meeting. If you received a nice packet of information, I have scribbles on my notepad. On the budget, not sure why mobile homes receive such a big increase. Is there data, I'm assuming there's data, showing mobile homes have increased their waste so much more than a multifamily resident? I understand the tipping fees for livestock waste is going up as the process is streamlined in the future and viable, profitable commodity markets for compost is established locally. I would expect that might actually decrease in the future. Commercial high, like restaurants, would benefit from private composting companies like they already do for used cooking oil. I understand the education department has asked for a small increase. They obviously need more, much more. When I type in, how do I recycle plastics, I get a plethora of information. I have to scroll down to the next page to get Recycle Right. That helped with a colorful sticker for single family and multifamily with more graphics. This should be posted in many more places and highlighted. Do Commercial High know the benefits of ordering commercial dumpsters for paper and boxes? As staff go out to the thousands of properties every year to verify a change in use, do they inform the new property of their options? Education on what is considered hazardous and how to dispose of both recyclable and hazardous materials is critical. I didn't know you were supposed to leave the lids on these bottles until I looked it up. And actually now maybe the technology has changed and maybe you can take the lids off. Anyway, do these existing commercial properties get business recycling posters, kind of like a workers' compensation poster? And I will continue the discussion on August 19th. Thank you.
Thank you again for allowing us to comment on the budget. I have some questions. I don't know if you can answer them or want to answer them right now, but what happens if this loss of revenue occurs to the county because of the change in the homestead exemption proposed in the recommendation ad valorem that's coming about? Will we compensate that by raising other revenues, such as charging people more for depositing waste? The other question I have is, if we recycled more, could we reduce tipping fees? Would that help reduce the cost of these expenses and compensate for some of these other increases in price? As a result of increased energy costs, obviously that would affect the cost of tipping fees. So the more we recycle, and one way to reduce tipping fees for households would be to encourage people to compost, and I compost and it reduces my waste significantly. If you compare my garbage can to my neighbor's garbage can, you'll see that I'll be using far less. So those are some questions that might affect the budget. As far as the investments, I think the rate you're getting is probably a good rate, and I don't think that a third party is going to help that much. In order to raise your rate, you would have to give up safety, as the gentleman said, and I don't think you want to sacrifice the safety of your investments to increase your rate marginally. Thank you.
Commissioner Sachs?
Thank you. Thank you. The tipping fee is something that Mr. Kari and I have been discussing for quite a while. A tipping fee for equestrian waste and cattle waste. We're getting more and more horses into Palm Beach County. And there's something about horse manure that is very difficult to compost, because it takes months, sometimes years, to transfer this or convert this waste into a usable product that you can use agriculturally. It used to be that we would burn manure, but that's not feasible today. What they have today is there is a process that was experimental, and now we know it to be usable. And Mr. Kari went out and looked at it himself. This is a process whereby they take manure, horse manure, and they process it with water and air and a chemical. It's a organic bacteria. Don't ask me what it is. I'm not an engineer. And they process this, and it becomes fertilizer that can be used for our lawns. In fact, St. Andrews Country Club buys this fertilizer for their golf course. So you know it's got to be good. So anyways, Mr. Kari is going to be looking into this as a process, because as more and more people get horses, they are less likely to pay a tipping fee to remove the manure to a processing plant here. And what we do is we basically I believe we just burn it, which is, if we can use this again, if we can reuse this material, it's very, very good. So hopefully at the next meeting, we can have a report on that, Mr. Kari, because this process works. You visited the plant where they're doing it, and I know we'll need land for it, but at least maybe we could have information about it. See, the same thing with the investment. I don't know what it is. Let's get information. information is power. Knowledge is power. And then we'll make a determination after we get that information. Let's get the information on this processing that could save us a lot of money, because we could actually sell this fertilizer to golf courses and other places. So I wonder if you could give us a report on that next meeting.
Commissioner Sachs, I did not visit the facility. My staff did, Nate and Mary Beth. So they went to that operation.
Good.
They looked at it.
I wonder if we could have that report, and then we'll see if this is a viable. I didn't realize y'all went out there. That's nice. If this is a viable convert and reprocess and reuse this material, which would cut out a lot of the issues that we have.
Again, this is not solid waste, right? So any investments we make, so we don't have flow control over this waste, but we'll definitely, put something together, a report, and then we'll bring this thing back to the board again. So since it's not solid waste and we don't have any flow control over this type of waste, we cannot make any investments into this.
We did before, Mr. Kari. We put some money into an idea that they could turn this manure into, I think it was into shavings inside in a building. But anyways, be that as it may, let's look into this if we could. And I'll be more than happy to talk with, is it Miss Morrison and Mr. Mayor who went out there? Okay, I'll talk with you and maybe we get a report together and see what we can do.
We'll put something together for the August meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Attorney Jones?
I can address the ad valorem question if you'd like. Solid Waste Authority is funded by non-ad valorem assessments on the tax bill. They are not currently affected by the legislation in Tallahassee.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir, for that. So we have a motion on the floor. Can we take all three together?
Yes, this is just to set the trim notice. And again, the rates cannot increase from here, and we'll find efficiencies, wherever we can. And, if there's some savings that could be achieved between now and August, we'll try to do that.
Okay. And the motion was for all three. So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. See that passes 7-0. The public hearing is now closed. Thank you. We do not have any old business, new business. The extension of agreements. Mr. Kari?
Yeah, that's 9E1. Our chief engineer is going to present that.
Hi, good morning. 9E1 is the extension of our agreements for the purchase of recyclable materials. Can you hear me now? This is for both paper and cardboard. So this is a 3-year extension to those agreements with 4 different entities. I can answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions from the board? Do we have any cards?
If I may add to it, I'll add some more detail to
9E1.
So this was approved by the board in 2023. So we are getting a premium above the market for both mixed paper and cardboard. So the composition of that type of waste has changed now. Back in the day, we were getting like 18,000 tons of mixed paper and 12,000 tons of cardboard. But now we're seeing more cardboard. So it's the opposite now. In 2026, we're seeing 18,000 tons of cardboard and 12,000 tons of mixed paper. The same premium remains. So, and these 4 firms, they want to continue the same premium. So right now, based on the 2023 contracts, we were making an additional $810,000 in revenue, and now that's going to change. It's going to be higher. We're projecting $1.26 million. So that's an additional $450,000 in revenue if these contracts are approved.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve the extension? Commissioner Marino was the first. Mayor Baxter was the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? See, that passes 7-0. Now we will move on to information item 9E2. Mr. Craig.
It's going to present.
Good morning. This will be a presentation with an update on the Renewable Energy Facility Ref 1R project. So the work completed to date includes the development of a master implementation schedule, the completion of the facility sizing capacity model, development of conceptual site layouts, including the stack and building locations. We continued preliminary air dispersion modeling based on this revised site layout. We conducted procurement for legal services with those agreements pending, and then we initiated vendor outreach discussions with operators of this facility, equipment suppliers for the facility, and next will be the contractors who will design and build the facility. I'll go through some of these in more detail, and don't hesitate to stop me to ask questions if you have any. So the figure, first we'll start with the facility sizing and capacity. This figure shows the waste generation in Palm Beach County over the last 10 years. And you can see increases in garbage, trash, vegetation, and building debris, with significant growth in both building debris and trash. What you can also see in this figure is that 2025 actually showed the first decline in overall garbage since 2017. These decreases were seen in garbage, trash, and then last year in construction and demolition debris. So historically, we have projected waste generation growth rate at 1%, and for this reason, we have decreased those projections by 0.5%. So waste will continue to grow as population grows, but the generation growth rate, we're projecting at 0.5% growth instead of 1%. So this figure shows the historical waste generation rate in Palm Beach County, in addition to our projections using that 0.5% growth. And you can see the projections for Class 1 material, that's municipal solid waste, the C&D, which is construction and demolition debris and trash, and then the green is the vegetation projections. So we also looked at specific, in addition to the population and waste generation rates, we looked at specific waste types. So vegetation continues to grow to numbers that we've never seen before. Last year, the authority alone received over 467,000 tons. 210,000 tons of this was beneficially used off-site. 65,000 tons was beneficially used on-site on the landfill, and 148,000 tons were processed at REF2. Now, combustion of vegetation in the REFs is not ideal because of low heating value. It's inefficient in generating energy. So therefore, we did not consider vegetation necessary in the sizing of REF1R. The future plan is to divert as much vegetation off-site for beneficial reuse. The second item we looked at was food waste. Estimates are that food waste is 6 to 17% of MSW, equating to about 100 to 230,000 tons per year today. Estimates are that 50% of this material is residential and 50% of the material is commercial. And if we did implement a commercial program, roughly 50% of that material could be recovered. This equates to 25 to 60,000 tons per year. So without significant changes to residential collection methods and residential disposal practices, we don't anticipate food waste having a significant impact on the sizing of REF1R. So putting all of those things together is we produced this graph. So on the y-axis on the left side is the REF1R throughput needed after we remove the throughput that's processed at REF2, after we remove all of the recycling in Palm Beach County, and after we remove all of the vegetation. So the red and blue lines show waste generation growth rates at 0% and 0.5% growth. And the green line shows a facility sized at 2,550 tons per day, or 3 boilers at 850 tons. This represents a 15% reduction from what we told you back in October of 2025. And so what you can see in 2035, when we anticipate this facility to go online, there's roughly 400 tons per day of additional capacity at that facility. This represents 150,000 tons per year that could be filled with vegetation. And just as an example, this year alone, we're projecting over 230,000 tons of vegetation going to REF2. So this is a much smaller number than what we're even doing today, split between 2 plants. This table shows the same information as the previous graph. In 2026, what we're doing today, in 2035, when we're anticipating the plant coming online, and then again in 2050. And what you can see is that as garbage, C&D, and trash increase, the vegetation processed at the plant decreases. And vegetation slowly fades to zero. And what you can also see is that vegetation is projected to increase off-site to beneficial reuse from 238,000 tons to over 526,000 tons in 2050. Another important thing to note on this graph is the tonnage to the landfill in 2050 is actually less than we're projected to landfill this year. So with all of that, this is the final project definition for REF1R. We are in the middle of designing a procurement for the demolition of REF1, the design, construction and operation of REF1R. The technology will be a mass burn facility with a capacity of 850,000 tons per year. Again, this is a 15% reduction from what we told you back in October. There will be 3 boilers at 850 tons per day each, equating to 2,550 tons per day. The stack height is tentatively scheduled to be 325 feet, and the air pollution control equipment will be designed to comply with the latest MAC rule published by the EPA in March of this year. So that includes selective catalytic reduction for NOx control, the same as what's installed at REF2 today. For acid gas removal, this includes a scrubber. The new MAC limits for SO2 are significantly lower than even what REF2's limits are. So this facility will likely require a larger scrubber unit. For particulate matter, we will use fabric filter baghouses. For mercury and heavy metal control, we'll use powdered activated carbon injection. And instead of using a water for cooling, as we do at REF1 today, we are projecting to use an air-cooled condenser similar to REF2. This is anticipated to save nearly 1 million gallons per day of water use. We are also looking at advanced metal recovery within the facility. There's different technologies, both wet and dry. They have different size requirements and requirements for storage prior to and after processing. And then for carbon capture, we are reserving space on the property for this technology if this technology proves to be viable at this scale. So as a reminder, back in October of 2025, the board approved us to move forward with the REF1R in the current REF1 footprint. So this figure provides a conceptual site layout of that facility. And, sorry, I guess that's not going to work. This site layout was done to keep both the existing electrical substation and the existing fire pump and fire tank operational while the facility is being taken offline. This layout also optimizes traffic flow through the property and around the facility and provides for the most staging of traffic. The tipping floor is situated such that our trucks can pull in and back to the left, which improves safety for our drivers. And this results in the stack being located on the eastern side of the property, closer to Jog Road, with the tipping building being located on the western side of the property. So this conceptual site layout is what's going to be used in the final air dispersion modeling. That includes the stack location, the building locations, the building heights, and then the boiler sizes that we talked about previously. You've seen this figure before, this table before, but we've updated this to include the latest EPA MAC limits for both existing and new facilities. We also included the REF1 facility as it stands today with the current permit limits and the actual emissions from last year. And so what you can see is that we project REF2 to be able to meet all of the new MAC limits for existing facilities. The 18 under the REF2 column is highlighted because you can see it's very close to the new MAC limit of 2022. Again, this may require us to use a little bit more lime, but we don't anticipate a retrofit to that facility. What you can also see is that REF1, we anticipate having issues achieving both the SO2 and the NOx limits. This is one of the reasons that the facility is being taken offline and replaced. And with REF1R, you can see there are significant reductions in the MAC limits for new facilities, with the most significant decrease being in SO2, even from what REF2 can do today. So to achieve an SO2, the SO2 limit of 14, we anticipate slightly larger scrubber units on that facility. We've also showed you this figure in the past, but with what we told you today, we do anticipate that the future looks even better. So with the 15% reduction in the sizing of Ref 1R, again, from a 3,000 ton per day facility to a 2,550 ton per day facility, we anticipate that future emissions will be 35% reduction from what we're doing today. This is because Ref 1R is anticipated to produce less than half the emissions of Ref 1 does today. And then this is the master implementation schedule that was put together. I'll go through a couple of these in a little bit more detail. So from a procurement standpoint, we anticipate the release of a request for expression of interest in August of this year, followed by a request for qualifications to be advertised in January of 2027. Finally, the request for proposals would be advertised in May of 2028, with proposals due in late 28, and the evaluation and the recommendation of award coming to the board in February of 2029. From the energy side, we anticipate the power purchase agreement and the interconnection agreement negotiations to occur between December of this year and May of 2027. And then we anticipate the determination of need petition with the Florida Public Service Commission to occur by February of 2028 if necessary. From a permitting perspective, we are anticipating the air permitting package, the PSD package, to be submitted to DEP in December of 2027, with a draft permit received by May of 2028 before the RFP is issued. We anticipate the final permit to be received by July of that year, of 2028. And then the power plant siting application, we anticipate to be submitted to DEP in January of 2028, with DEP approval occurring in September of 2028 before the award is issued. And then the final Power Plant Siting Act site certification being received by April of 2029. From a construction standpoint, we anticipate the demolition beginning as soon as Ref 1's operation is over, so that's October of 2029. We will then follow with site work and construction of the Ref 1R facility, with the earliest commercial operation date anticipated to occur in Q4 of 2033, but most likely in Q2 or Q3 of 2034.
Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Meyer, quick question. What is the lifetime or the life cycle of the new RF1R? Once it's constructed and completed and it goes online in maybe 2034, what's the life?
So by 2029, the current Ref 1 facility will have been operating for 40 years.
40 years. So we can expect that the new Ref 1 will have a life cycle of approximately 40 years?
Yeah, if it's being maintained
correct.
properly, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I will say in 2009, Ref 1 had a major facility retrofit. Now that included new air pollution control, but it was a complete retrofit and revamp of the facility.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, the next steps will include finalizing the legal services agreement. I'm going to pause here because the last meeting 2 months ago, after going out through the RFQ process for legal services, the board directed us to directly negotiate with Troutman Pepper Locke, who is our existing bond counsel. Unfortunately, those negotiations were not successful, but we do have a revised plan. We went kind of back out to folks that were interested and have a revised plan for each of the different legal counsel options that we have available.
Yes, there are two things that are different in this presentation from what the board directed us. Back in October of last year, we were thinking about 1 million tons per year facility, but now, based on the waste projections, we're planning on a slightly smaller facility, 15% smaller, 850,000 tons per year. And that was back in October of last year. And at the last meeting in April, the board asked us to negotiate with Troutman Pepper, and we were not successful because the rates were high. And so instead, we have a plan B. And can you put up the other slide, please? So the new plan here is bond counsel, Troutman Pepper Lock will continue to be our bond counsel. And the rates are set very reasonable. That's based on the agreement we have from 3 years ago. And the new plan we have here is the construction law portion of that would be by Nelson Mullins, and their rates are reasonable compared to what Troutman proposed. And as far as the energy and environmental law, we have a law firm that we currently work with. They're under contract with us, and so we're proposing Gardner, Best, King, and Wood for those two aspects, and the rates are very reasonable. So, I mean, those are the two differences I want to point out. A smaller facility, and the reason why Nate went into greater detail on the conceptual site design and everything and where the stack is located, and that's because, we're on the verge of submitting permit applications to DEP. And so once we set the throughput at 850,000 tons and the stack location, so the capacity is pretty much set, and the stack location can only move by less than 100 feet in any direction. And that's why we want the board to know that, we're on the verge of submitting permit applications, and so we're marching along full steam ahead.
Do you need action by this board on either of those items?
No action is needed unless, you have any objections to, what we're doing, so you don't need any approvals at this point in time.
Okay. Does that conclude the presentation?
Yeah, so the next steps, again, is to finalize legal services agreements, continue the vendor outreach. And the next step, again, is to meet with the EPC contractors. We will finalize the air dispersion modeling and begin the permitting tasks, as Ramona mentioned. And then for procurement, as I mentioned on the previous slide, is the RFEI in August of this year, followed by the RFQ in January, and the RFP in May of 2028. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions, comments by the board? Do we have cards?
We have 2 cards. We have, take a wild guess, Linda Smith and Drew Martin.
I'm going to change my name. Still Linda Smith. I had a new page of scribbles from the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting. I am encouraged that the staff report shows the size of REF-1R can be reduced from 3,000 to 4,000 tons, which was what was discussed about a year ago, to just 2,550. I think I have that number right. And that happened in just less than a year. So we have, and will continue to have, a 3,000 ton per day incinerator, I believe. But we don't even have to reduce our waste by half. So now my request for the RFP is going to have to be changed, because now we only have to reduce our waste by 2,550 tons per day, still in 9 years, still for less than $1.5 billion. I did not hear in the revised budget for REF-1R if the reduction in size reduced the price, reduced that $1.5 billion. I know labor, tariffs, energy, all that's gone up in this past year, so maybe it's still the $1.5 billion. I don't know, but maybe you guys as the governing board should know. Miami's incinerator cost actually rose, I believe, recently from 1 or 1.5 billion up to 2. So actually, as of this week, I believe Miami-Dade is abandoning their proposed incinerator because it's too expensive. I was glad to hear REF-1R can meet the new watered-down EPA standards by adding scrubbers and things that they discussed. Also glad that REF-2 can meet those standards with more lime or whatever they have to do, maybe increase a scrubber. But also glad that the proposed REF-1R will reduce water consumption. That's fabulous. A little sidebar. How does the water consumption on REF-2 and REF-1R compare with water needed for recycling or composting, as was discussed? Maybe equine waste needs more water. I don't know. Maybe you should. If you don't ask for it, you're probably not going to find out. AI is coming somewhere, and we need to conserve water now. Kind of a sidebar, we are in a drought. The South Florida Water Management District has not revised their irrigation water restrictions in the past 16 years. Does the average resident or commercial property know this? Driving around, I would say no. So we need to enforce the rules and save our water, and I'm glad that at least we're going in that direction here. Did I hear correctly that 50% of commercial food waste could be recovered? Ooh. I appreciate reserving space for the future carbon capture, maybe also reserve space for, I don't know, a fix-it shop, electronics, furniture, that sort of thing. And I was glad to hear the presentation again. Thank you. I thought I was out of time.
Bring us home, Drew.
Drew Martin with Sierra Club. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I have a number of questions. You probably won't answer them, but I do want to say I'm glad to see food waste can be diverted. I'm really glad to see equestrian waste can be diverted. I'm glad to hear that vegetation can be diverted, which leads me to the question: if we're recycling cardboard, paper, and metals, is the main thing we're burning now construction waste? And if that is, maybe we need to increase the ordinances to make it so that construction waste is being reused rather than diverted to our landfill and our incineration. It seems to me that there's a lot of useful products in construction waste, particularly timber that is coming out of there. I think you can recycle concrete. I'm not absolutely sure how that works, but it seems to me that what I'm hearing, maybe we don't need to build this second incinerator. You have the existing one. You could refurbish that to capture what you need to burn. The second question is, the residual is 30%, so you're really still only reducing your waste by 70%. Does the new process reduce that more, or do you still have a 30% residual waste? I'm still concerned about the change in the property tax, homestead, which I do not favor, even though it might save me a little money. I'd rather have a service than to save money. And if the county has to provide certain services such as fire and sheriff, no matter whether they have the revenue or not, what happens then? Do they have to borrow? And if they borrow, is that going to reduce our favorable borrowing rate if we have to continue to borrow more and more money to cover those other expenses? Everything I've read is that carbon capture doesn't work. I mean, so I don't know, if you want to save a place for that, that's fine, but I really think carbon capture is pie in the sky. And I'm just really, I'm glad to hear, though, from the information that was provided, that you are reducing some of the waste that's coming into the system, and I think that is definitely a good sign, and I hope we can continue along that trend. Thank you.
Thank you. So no questions, comments from the board? All right. Well, then we will move on from that item. Are there any other schedule matters, Mr. Curry?
No, thank you.
Okay. Do we have comments by general counsel?
No comments.
Comments by staff?
I'd like to introduce Richard Myers. He's our new Chief Operating Officer. With Patrick Carroll's retirement, Richard took over that role, and he brings over 30 years of solid waste industry experience. And Richard was the Director of Solid Waste for Broward County before this.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. I look forward to serving in the new role.
Commissioner Powell?
Oh, thank you. And welcome. And you just came out of Broward County?
No, I've been with Solid Waste Authority for the last 5 years, but prior to that, 19 plus years.
Okay. Thank you for that. And so now you were here for the last 5 years. Where was he at?
Richard served as the Director of Land Management Operations.
Oh, thank you. I think we talked about that.
Yep.
So that means now the Director of Land Management. Is there an interim there?
We're going through the interview process right now.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any comments from the board, Commissioner Weiss?
I just, because we had a little earlier discussion about equestrian waste, is that considered part of the waste stream, or is that agricultural?
That is ag. We do accept it, and obviously there's a tipping fee of $25, and the board just approved it to go up to $35. And the reason is, we're not breaking even on the operating fee for Ref 2. That's where it goes. So we're paying the operator close to $35, and that's the reason why we asked for that increase.
But
so it is ag, but it is not subject to flow control that we have for other waste.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was not flow control. So it's potential. Then and I don't know what the bylaws are for this organization in regards to. Are you allowed to invest in facilities on material you don't control?
No.
That's what I had assumed that. So that meaning that because you can't control it, it could be removed from the area. You would make the investment, or we would make the investment. It would be removed from the area and end up, because somebody came up with a new system or whatever, we wouldn't, our investment would be lost at that point. And so that's not something you're allowed to do.
Right, and if there's a price competition, if someone prices it slightly lower than us because we have all these capital investments, and if it doesn't come to us, then that facility would not be functional.
Right, and I think in a way, and this is just for the public to understand, there's fixed costs that happen with facilities like this in the same way for producing water and that sort of thing. The marginal cost of adding additional waste here, there is some, but it's sort of already built in. So even if you reduced the amount of material you're processing, your overall costs, other than your consumables, are going to run pretty flat. I see heads nodding. Yeah. So we have to be really careful on what we invest in and how we do it. So. And I look forward to the CFO's report at our next meeting. I guess it'll be in August. So, thank you.
Commissioner Flores?
No comments.
No comments. Commissioner Powell?
No comment.
Commissioner Marino? No, thank you. No comments from me other than to thank you all for. Oh, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I had one more thing. I wanted to thank Commissioner Weiss for his efforts in permitting at Central County Transfer Station in Lantana. After your help reaching out to the mayor, the manager, legal counsel, we were able to organize a meeting with the Development Services Director and help streamline permitting so we didn't have to plant 5,000 bushes. And those permits have been submitted. So I want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for those efforts and all of staff for today. Our next regular scheduled meeting is Wednesday, August 19th at 9:30 in this location. So with that, we are adjourned.